Fascinating facts about the largest species of dolphin, with their striking black and white markings and their prevalence in marine parks. The killer whale, or, more deservedly, orca, is probably one of the most accessible of all whale species. Here are some fascinating facts about orca. According to the book Whales and Dolphins in Question, the name killer whale originated with whalers, who called it killer whale because of its tendency to prey on whales along with other species such as pinnipeds and fish. Over time, perhaps due to the whale's tenacity and ferocity in hunting, the name turned into killer whale. So, where do orca come from? The term orca comes from the scientific name for the killer whale, Orcinus orca. Orca is Latin for kind of whale. Because wild killer whales do not pose a threat to humans, and the phrase killer has a derogatory tone, many people now refer to these whales as orca, rather than killer whales. At least in the United States, and even among whale researchers, killer whale is still more commonly used, despite my use of both terms in this article. They are the largest member of the Delphinidae, the family of cetaceans known as dolphins. Dolphins are a type of toothed whale, and members of the Delphinidae family share many characteristics. They have cone-shaped teeth, streamlined bodies, a clear beak, which is less pronounced in orcas, and one groin, rather than the two orifices found in baleen whales. Orcas can grow to a maximum of about 32 feet tall and weigh up to 11 tons. They are 4 times larger than the smallest dolphin species. Yes, killer whales are dolphins, and they are toothed whales. All killer whales have teeth on their upper and lower jaw, 48 to 52 per year. These teeth can be up to 4 inches long. Although toothed whales have teeth, they do not chew their food. They use their teeth to pick up and shred food. Young killer whales get their first teeth at 2 to 4 months of age. Orcas may work in antlers to hunt their prey, and they have a number of interesting prey-chasing techniques, which include working together to create waves to wash seals off the ice, and gliding on beaches to capture prey. Killer whales were long considered a single species, Orcinus orca, but now it seems that there are several species, or at least, a subspecies. Researchers are still discovering this of orcas. As researchers learn more about orcas, they suggest separating whales into different species or subspecies based on genetics, diet, size, vocalizations, location, and physical appearance. In the southern hemisphere, suggested species include those referred to as Type A, Antarctic, Type B, Snowpack killer whale, Type B, Gerlache killer whale, Type C, Ross Sea killer whale, and Type D killer whale under the lower Arctic. In the northern hemisphere, proposed species include resident killer whales, begs, transiting killer whales, marine killer whales, and Type 1 and 2 killer whales in the North Atlantic. Identification of killer whale species is important not only in obtaining information about whales, but in their protection. It is difficult to determine killer whale abundance without even knowing how many species there are. Identification of killer whale species is important not only in obtaining information about whales, but in their protection. It is difficult to determine killer whale abundance without even knowing how many species there are. Killer whales are often described as the most universal of all cetaceans. It can be found in all oceans of the world, and not only in the open ocean near the shore, at the entrance to rivers, in semi-enclosed seas, and in the polar regions covered with ice. If you're looking to see orcas in the wild in the United States, you may want to head to the Pacific Northwest or Alaska, 2 places where you can catch whale-watching tours to see orchids. Male killer whales can grow to a maximum length of 32 feet, while females can grow to 27 feet in length. Males weigh up to 22,000 pounds, while females weigh up to 16,500 pounds. The distinguishing feature of killer whales is their stubby dorsal fin, which is much larger in males. A male's dorsal fin can reach a height of 6 feet, while a female's dorsal fin can reach a maximum height of about 3 feet. Males also have upper pectoral fins and tail flukes. Researchers identify individual killer whales by the size and shape of their dorsal fins, the shape of the saddle-shaped trimmings behind the dorsal fin, and the scars or markings on their dorsal fins or bodies. Identification and cataloging of whales based on natural traits and characteristics is a type of research called image identification. Identifying photographs allows researchers to learn about the life history, distribution, and behavior of individual whales, and more about the behavior. Killer whales use a variety of sounds to communicate, socialize, and find prey. These sounds include clicks, pulsing calls, and whistles. Its sounds range from 0.1 kHz to about 40 kHz. Clicks are used primarily for echolocation, although they may also be used for communication. The warm pulses of killer whales sound like screeching and screaming and appear to be used for communication and socializing. It can produce sounds very quickly at a rate of up to 5,000 clicks per second. You can hear T. Different groups of killer whales emit different sounds, and different horns within these groups may have their own dialect. Some researchers can distinguish individual antlers, and even imirites, the line of relationship that can be traced from one mother to her offspring, just by their calls. Orcas are apex predators. They are at the top of the oceanic food chain, and have no natural predators. Even humans haven't spent much time hunting killer whales, because of their speed and streamlined bodies. According to NOAA, it takes 21 whales to produce the same amount of oil as a sperm whale. Killer whales have been captured for aquariums since the early 1960s. The first killer whale caught in the wild was in 1961. This whale died within 2 days after being bumped into the side of its tank. According to the Whale and Dolphin Conservancy, there were 45 killer whales in captivity as of April 2013. Due to protections in the United States and restrictions on trade, most parks now obtain their killer whales from captive breeding programs. The practice has been so controversial that in 2016 SeaWorld reported that it would stop breeding orcas. Although watching captive orcas have inspired thousands of budding marine biologists and health scientists learn more about the species, it is a controversial practice due to the potential effects on whales' health and ability to naturally socialize. Other threats to killer whales include pollution. Orcas can carry chemicals such as PCBs and DDTs and flame retardants that can affect the immune and reproductive systems. Ship strikes, prey reduction due to overfishing, habitat loss, entanglement, and shipwrecks. Irresponsible whale watching and noise in the habitat, which can affect the ability to communicate and find prey.